my social security number that you will never see Gucci Mane or Pooh Shiesty standing next to each other again, on a picture again, never on a song again. That should have never happened.
Damn, man, that's crazy. So that's stamped.
The streets have been locked in on this situation for weeks, and now the real story is finally coming into focus. Gucci Mane has officially spoken on the rumors about being robbed by his own artist, Pooh Shiesty. And listen, nobody saw this response coming. We're talking deleted posts, money allegedly being clawed back, and a level of disrespect that left the entire hip-hop world stunned. But before we even get into Gucci's cold reaction, we've got to rewind and break down how things ever reached this point. How does a mentor-student relationship collapse into one of the most shocking betrayals we've seen in modern rap? Stay right here because this goes way deeper than anything you've seen online so far. And honestly, Gucci's response only made the situation feel even more personal. So let's lay the groundwork. Gucci Mane has been a certified icon in this game for over 2 decades. This is the same artist who helped lay the blueprint for trap music as we know it today. From gritty mixtape runs to turning 1017 into a respected powerhouse, Gucci has a track record of discovering talent that later dominates the industry. Now, Pooh Shiesty, born Lontrell Williams, comes from Memphis, a city known for producing some of the rawest voices in hip-hop. Long before contracts and cameras, Pooh was already a known name in the streets, and not because of music. His reputation carried weight, and not the pretty kind. But that same background eventually became the foundation of what made his rap image feel so real. The young Memphis rapper had an edge that reminded people of Gucci Mane in his early days. He wasn't chasing radio spins or polish, he was speaking straight from lived experience. And that realness is exactly what caught Gucci's attention. But hold up, this is where things start getting interesting. Pooh wasn't some unknown kid when Gucci discovered him. He already had momentum back home. Folks in Memphis were already talking about his potential. What he didn't have was industry backing and someone seasoned enough to elevate him to the next level. And the way Gucci first heard about Pooh is actually crazy. Word is it came through street connections. People who understood both the music business and street politics were telling Gucci about this Memphis artist with undeniable credibility. When Gucci finally pressed play, it immediately stood out. This kid was different. The skill was obvious, but more than that, Pooh had a street perspective you can't manufacture. In an industry flooded with fake personas, Pooh Shiesty felt authentic. The deal didn't drag out with endless negotiations. When Gucci sees value, he moves fast. He reached out directly, kept it real, and laid out the vision. Gucci saw star power, Pooh needed exposure, and 1017 needed that Memphis energy. For Pooh, signing with Gucci Mane felt like hitting the jackpot. Overnight, he went from local Memphis buzz to being tied to one of hip-hop's most respected brands. Gucci didn't just put him on paper, he mentored him, connected him with top-tier producers, and backed him fully with the 1017 machine. At first, everything looked perfect. Gucci was the experienced mentor, Pooh was the hungry newcomer, and together they were creating waves that the streets and the industry couldn't ignore. Nobody could have imagined how the story would end. Then, real life stepped in. Pooh Shiesty caught a federal case and landed behind bars, stopping his rise right as everything was taking off.
A rapper arrested. He's accused of shooting a security guard at a South Florida gentleman's club and will remain behind bars. A judge denied bond for 21-year-old Lontrell Williams.
And it lands a rapper in jail. 7 Sheldon Fox with the exclusive.
Rhode Island says you're wanted with
Mr. Williams, you were arrested for pursuant to an arrest.
For most artists, that would have been the end of the road, but listen, Gucci Mane has never operated like a regular label boss. While Pooh was sitting behind bars, Gucci made sure his name stayed ringing. He brought him up in interviews, posted him online, and kept reminding the world that the young Memphis rapper was still part of the plan. That kind of loyalty from a label head is rare, and it showed how strongly Gucci believed in Pooh's potential. While Pooh was locked up, the rap game didn't stop. New artists broke through, sounds evolved, and trends shifted non-stop. But Gucci made it clear that when Pooh came home, his spot would still be waiting. The anticipation around Pooh Shiesty's release was heavy. Fans, industry insiders, and even other rappers were all watching to see what he'd do with his second chance. Gucci had kept the door open the entire time, but walking through it was on Pooh. When he finally got out, Gucci was one of the first to welcome him publicly. That Instagram post felt genuine. Gucci talked about how proud he was and how excited he was to get back to working together. But something felt off after Pooh returned. Instead of locking back in with Gucci in 1017, Pooh started leaning hard into his Memphis connections, specifically Yo Gotti and CMG. And hold up, because this is where things get sticky. Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane don't just have a little tension, they have real history. We're talking years of unresolved issues rooted in personal situations. Their beef goes way deeper than music. It's about respect, territory, and lines that were crossed. The heart of that conflict traces back to Gucci's wife, Keisha Kayor. Before becoming Mrs. Gucci Mane, she was reportedly involved with Yo Gotti. All of this happened while Gucci was incarcerated, and once Gucci found out, that wound never healed. In street culture, there are certain violations you don't come back from, and dealing with a man's woman while he's locked up is one of the worst. So when Pooh Shiesty started publicly aligning himself with Yo Gotti, it wasn't just hometown love. It looked like choosing sides in a deeply personal conflict. Every CMG shoutout or Gotti appearance felt like a slap in the face to the man who had kept his career alive. The pull of Memphis was strong, though. That was home, his people were there, and Yo Gotti represented Memphis' success in a way Gucci never could as an Atlanta artist. But loyalty in hip-hop isn't only about geography. It's about who stood by you when everything was on the line. Then came the moment nobody saw coming. Rumors started circulating that Pooh Shiesty didn't just disrespect Gucci, he allegedly robbed him. Not industry drama, not paperwork issues, but jewelry and cash were reportedly taken at gunpoint. Word on the street says it happened during a studio session in Dallas. Supposedly, Pooh and his crew were in the studio with Gucci when tensions boiled over. Whether it was money, respect, or unresolved Memphis-related tension, that's where things allegedly crossed the line. Things escalated fast after that. The full details are still unclear, but multiple sources claim Gucci was forced to give up his watch and his wedding ring. And listen, when you're talking about someone like Gucci Mane, a man who survived decades in both the streets and the industry, getting robbed by your own artist is the ultimate disrespect. What made it even crazier was that this wasn't some random street situation. This was a calculated move by someone Gucci trusted, someone he invested time, money, and mentorship into, someone he treated like family. That kind of betrayal cuts deeper than any material loss. The fact that Pooh's people were allegedly involved made one thing crystal clear. This wasn't impulsive. This didn't look random at all, which suggests the idea of crossing Gucci had been brewing in Pooh's head long before it ever went down. For Gucci, that kind of move had to feel like a knife in the back. He kept Pooh's name alive while he was locked up, welcomed him home in public, and this was how that loyalty got repaid. But pause right there. This is where Gucci showed exactly why he's still standing after decades in the game. Instead of reacting with emotion, violence, or messy online posts, Gucci moved with patience and precision. He let his decisions do all the talking. The first sign was subtle. He quietly deleted the welcome home post for Pooh Shiesty. That may sound small, but in today's digital world, removing public support sends a loud message. That was Gucci drawing a clear line and cutting ties with everything they once built together. But the real power move came financially. People close to the situation say Gucci immediately started reclaiming whatever money he'd fronted after Pooh's release. Whether it was advances, jewelry, or other perks, Gucci made sure he got back what he could. That move was surgical because it struck Pooh where it hurt most, his pockets and his public image. By pulling funding and erasing visible support, Gucci essentially rewrote the narrative. The message couldn't have been clearer. That relationship was dead. The coldest part was how clean the response was. Gucci didn't spiral, didn't incriminate himself, and didn't give anyone ammunition. He simply shut off the pipeline and acted like Pooh never mattered. For someone like Pooh, who was still trying to rebuild after prison, losing Gucci's backing was devastating. The industry access, the resources, and the credibility that came with being a 1017 artist, all gone overnight. This situation also shone a light on the long-running Memphis versus Atlanta tension in hip-hop. Both cities are deeply rooted, culturally powerful, and fiercely loyal to their own. For Pooh Shiesty, choosing Memphis over Atlanta wasn't just about geography, it was about identity and belonging. In Memphis, he was the hometown hero. In Atlanta, he was just another artist under Gucci's umbrella. Yo Gotti represented exactly what Pooh wanted to become, a Memphis boss who built an empire without leaving his city behind. CMG offered something 1017 never could, the chance to be the face of Memphis rap. But loyalty in hip-hop is supposed to rise above city lines. When someone holds you down at your lowest, keeps your name alive when you can't speak for yourself, and opens doors when they didn't have to, that bond should matter more than hometown politics. Pooh's choosing local validation over loyalty revealed where his priorities truly were. He chose short-term praise over the long-term relationship that kept his career alive. For Gucci, that realization probably hurt more than anything. This wasn't just business to him. He genuinely believed in Pooh's talent and invested emotionally in seeing him succeed. The entire hip-hop world watched this unfold with a mix of disbelief and quiet understanding. On one side, robbing the person who put you on is an unforgivable violation. On the other hand, the pull of hometown loyalty is something every artist understands. The other 1017 artists were definitely watching closely, questioning how far loyalty really goes. Gucci's response made the rules crystal clear: betray the family and you're erased. Industry veterans who had ties to both Gucci and Pooh were stuck in an uncomfortable middle ground. Many could see both perspectives, but none could publicly defend what Pooh did. Memphis hip-hop became divided. Some supported Pooh for standing with his city, while others believed he crossed the line completely. You can represent where you're from without disrespecting the people who elevated you. Atlanta artists, meanwhile, didn't hesitate to stand with Gucci. In that city, disrespecting a legend is viewed as disrespecting the culture itself. This situation also exposed how regional politics still influence hip-hop, with different cities operating under different codes of respect, loyalty, and business. When everything settled, both sides took losses. Pooh Shiesty lost a powerful mentor and a major bridge in the industry. Gucci Mane lost an artist he truly believed in and invested real time and money into. For Pooh, the short-term reward of hometown approval may never outweigh the long-term damage of burning a bridge with one of hip-hop's most connected figures. Gucci's influence runs deep, and being on the wrong side of that quietly closes doors. For Gucci, it was another reminder that loyalty can't be bought. You can open doors for someone, but you can't force them to value what's on the other side. The culture learned that even the strongest mentor-student relationships can collapse when ego and divided loyalties step in. Thriving in hip-hop takes more than talent. It takes wisdom, discipline, and the ability to navigate complicated relationships. This entire situation also showed how personal history and business are tightly intertwined in the industry. The unresolved beef between Gucci and Yo Gotti over Keisha Kayor placed Pooh in a position where a side had to be chosen, and he chose wrong. At its core, this story is about respect and loyalty. Gucci Mane was justified in feeling betrayed, and his response was calculated, not reckless. He didn't escalate things into violence, but he made sure the consequences were understood. Pooh's decision to rob his mentor is a stain that won't fade easily. In an industry built on reputation and relationships, betrayal like that doesn't get forgotten. The saddest part is that none of this was necessary. Pooh could have balanced his Memphis ties while still honoring the man who gave him a platform. Instead, he chose the most extreme and disrespectful path. For fans, this saga is painful because it represents lost potential. The music, the legacy, and the success they could have created together vanished because of bad decisions and divided loyalties. But this is hip-hop, where loyalty is currency and betrayal always comes with consequences. Gucci Mane's response is exactly why he survived as long as he has. He knows how to handle disrespect without destroying himself in the process. The story isn't over yet, but the message is already clear. Never bite the hand that feeds you, because it can take back everything it ever gave you.